I just believe in the power of the experience of seeing a film in the theater. It's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's something I'm really happy to speak on because it's really something I believe in and something that really fuels most of what I do here. It's just enriched my life so much over the years coming to the theater from the time I was young, and I have those nostalgia memories that most people have coming to a theater as a child to the really profound experiences I've had as an adult. The emotional processing that it's allowed me to do, the exposure to things I wouldn't know about.
I guess the short answer is memories.
I used to take my kids all the time to the movie theaters. It was an event. Streaming something from Netflix is not an event. Look around the world, social events, those theaters carved into stone in Greece, where people like to get together and have a common experience together. So it's a thing that humans do all over the world in different cultures. And movie theaters are one of those places we do that.
I mean, they're a place to gather. They're a place to come together around art, right? Like a music venue, like a symphony hall. These are places to experience culture in the form that it's meant to be experienced in. There wouldn't be a reason to do it if you couldn't gather around a space and watch movies together and then come out of the theater and talk about them. I mean, that's the best part for me. And it's you go and see a movie with friends and you don't really talk about it while the movie's going on because you can't, right? Or else you're going to miss something, or someone will be like, shut up, stop eating popcorn, or whatever. And then you walk out and you're walking to your car or you're walking home and you're talking about that movie. I mean, it just doesn't happen when you're at home watching that on a screen. Maybe you talk about it a little bit, but not in the same way, not fresh.
It's going to see a movie with a packed theater, like a Batman movie, where the theater is reacting together and you have people speaking to the screen. And to me, that's the collective environment where you're engaging in a full-bodied experience with the movie. So it's the movie, it's the people around you that help to make that experience happen.
A lot of times when we have big shows here, at the end everybody claps, and that's so cool, and it's such a throwback to olden days. It feels like a throwback to when theater going was the big thing to do, and I love that feeling.
The theater experience as a social experience is a very different thing that when you're with a crowd, and the way that they are sort of riding the wave of reaction to the film is part of the film experience.
I watch movies on computers. You watch movies on computers, you go into the big dark theater, and it's just a different experience. Having that is part of the tradition, and it's important. It's a better viewing experience.
And I think getting outside of your house and walking down the street and feeling the sun or the rain and walking by your neighbors and coming in and having an interaction with a person and then sitting in a theater with people you know or don't know is important. And I think all the isolation is causing all this anxiety, and I see that increasingly with a lot of the people I work with. It makes me sad that someone wouldn't have this experience and wouldn't allow themselves that experience, because I think we're becoming more and more isolated. Those small rituals that we do as a community, going to the movies, going out to eat, getting a cup of coffee, really contribute to more spontaneous interactions and more exposure and get us out of our comfort zone. I think that's good for people.
Yeah, I don't know if movies would exist how they have or how they do currently if there wasn't a theater to show them in.
And it certainly is still an experience. We're fortunate here in Athens to have, OU with the sports and the venues that they bring in. Most towns this size would not have that. Quite frankly, I don't think if it wasn't for OU, obviously, we wouldn't be here. So it just, I think it just enriches the community with more to do than just going uptown or drinking, or it gives you other options that you would otherwise not have. So, I think we're an asset for the community.
very important for students to be able to get their films into film festivals and go to film festivals and network with people. And while some festivals went virtual, that sort of function of the theater within the development of young filmmakers, I think that was like a disaster.
I think the Athena is important too. I mean, they have like an environmental film series. They have like a series for kids in the summer and in the winter. There's like all these things that provide us with like more things to do that center around art.
During the film fest, there were some tech glitches in the kids' animation show, the Saturday morning cartoons, and I had given all the kids little Athena flashlights, and they started making hand puppets on the screen, and they're laughing and barking, and and it was so neat. That was such a neat experience.
Can the society survive without movie theaters? I suppose it can. Is it better for the society to have movie theaters? Yeah. Is it better for society to have Broadway theaters where they can go? Yeah. I mean, it's part of, in our society, one of the things that makes life interesting.
The people in the U.S., so here's what the statistics show, is that people in the U.S. were going to the theater even more than ever before the pandemic. But when you're talking about other arts industries, most of them have been kind of dipping. All of the other in-person arts industries, except for museum going. And museum going has been stable or grew up to the pandemic. And how did that happen? It's because museum directors and museum organizations have been more and more creative about creating multimedia experiences for people. I think where we're challenged is people want a 360 degree, every sense engaged experience, right? So how do we make the other art forms more like that? Well, the movie theater industry was a little bit ahead of us because you could have the 3D experience, and then you have the food experience, and you're having this collective experience, and it's so engaging because you've got music and you've got film. It's what opera was created to do in a lot of ways, which is to combine all the other art forms into one. So I think movies are a really amazing experience.
But also just like, I love watching a movie by myself in here because it really has me. That's what I'm focused on. It's not like, is my kid really asleep in the other room, or do I really kind of want to get a snack from the kitchen, or do I want to like check my phone and look at some like t-shirt online? It's like, I'm here, this is what I'm doing, and that's the way I like to watch movies. I'm really particular about that. Like, if I watch movies at home, I just fall asleep. And I love watching movies in the theater, and I think it's kind of addictive. Once you start doing it, you're like, okay, I can't go back. I believe that theater going and movies make life richer and make life better, and especially in a small town like ours, they really give you a chance to step outside of your comfort zone and walk in someone else's shoes and see different stories and have exposure to different cultures and different people.